Welcome to Deep Thought. Don't be a blind follower. Ooh, let me write this down right. I didn't put the right thing in the title. Yeah, I got my notes here. Anyway, don't be a blind follower. I'm gonna tell you what. When you going through life, there's always going to be some type of they who want you to follow them. And it might actually be a positive they. I haven't talked about it. Sometimes people have some good ideas. You know, I could be considered a they. But what if I've always said, think about what you're doing. In fact, I prefer, even though I might throw the word follow out every now and then, I prefer to see those who support me as supporters. But even with what I say, look, don't take my word for it. Go out and see if this works for you, what I'm saying. Think about what I'm saying to you. Think about it. I don't like blind followers myself. I don't, even if you support me, you could be supporting me with money. I want you to be getting something from it. One of the things I've always liked is when somebody hits me up and they'll say, hey, you know, I listened to what you were saying, I applied it, it's worked for me, I'm doing well, I'm doing better. I love hearing that. And not even just for relationships, but I love hearing, in fact, not even like, but I love hearing when somebody has gotten something from what I've talked about, but they thought about it and they actually applied it. But I don't want anybody just to say, oh, Uncle Rom said this and go. Don't do that with anybody. Don't do that. One of the things, and I've addressed this before, because you have some content creators who will go after other content creators. But my thing is, I listen to this particular content creator. Like there was a content creator, I'll just say, this particular content creator, I see stuff from him every now and then, and it seems like he spends more time going after, I'll just say, more popular content creators. And I'm just like, why? And of course, that content creator has some followers, but is that really helping? And indeed, the more popular content creator that this content creator was talking about, this young man was talking about, I was like, well, I can understand where you're going, because both of them have blind followers. Look, if you're going to listen to anyone, you might support them. You might take some of their ideas, but don't be afraid to question it. Don't be afraid to apply it first and then go with what they're saying. But don't just be in that situation where you just say, oh, they're saying something good. In fact, that's how cults get started. That's why you have leaders who have cult-like followings. They don't question anything from the leader. And that's because a lot of people, let's break down a blind follower. If you're blind, in many cases, you are dependent on somebody to show you the way. You're not one of these blind, like when you see some people out in public sometimes and they're blind and they're able to go along themselves. They're blind, but they're not followers. But then you have some people who they might be holding on to somebody else. Now that somebody else could be taking them any place. You don't want to be that. You do not want to consciously do that. You always want to be in a position. You always want to be in a position where if you are taking the advice for somebody or being a supporter of that person, even consciously allowing them to lead, that you're doing so because you thought about what they're doing. You looked at it. And this person is someone you can learn from. This person can be a teacher. There's nothing wrong with supporting a teacher, listening to what a teacher has to say. But even then, you need to be thinking about it, everything they tell you. Because indeed, that's how you do get some cult-like followings. Like that teacher might start out as a teacher for you, and they're saying some stuff that makes some sense for you at first. But then he started throwing out some other stuff. Now, somebody smart will say, oh, wait a minute, hold up. That don't make sense. That's somebody smart. Somebody will just like, oh, the teacher said this, so I'm going to go with this. That's why you have people in cults. They get in trouble. That's why you might get some women who will gladly sleep with a cult leader. They're not questioning, even though they might have a loving mate. That's why you have situations where people may even kill themselves. They might drink the Kool-Aid. You don't want to do that. No matter who the person is, no matter what they're saying, think about it. That's why I say, even for what I'm saying, if you think about it, no matter what I say, go out there and check it out for yourself. That's all I ask. Like on my main channel, I'm known for talking about body game. But you need to go out there and try it for yourself. Does it work for you? Does it work for you? That's the main thing. That's the thing you have to be thinking about. Whether, if they tell you how to make money, okay. Because that's one thing, and I've talked about that on my money channel. Be careful of these people telling you you're going to make money overnight. That's one thing. I'm going to tell you, nah, you probably not. But if you want to make money, you still have to at least try what they're saying. They might be telling you some stuff and you want to apply it. Like one of the ways that I was able to make money was reading just the right information and then just doing it. And that person didn't ask me to follow them or support them. I bought the book and then I applied the information. I say, hey, this works. This works. And that's how you have to be. You have to consciously apply. You still have to have your senses. And it might not work. It might be actually good information, but it might not work for you. Because of your circumstances, because of where you at, you might have to do something different. See, that's the thing too, because ultimately all of us are different. I'll use myself for an example again in the information that I share. It might be good for one person, but it might not be good for the next person. So you have to ask yourself, does this work for me? Does this work? And I don't mind. And I've had some people tell me, it's like, yeah, I've been listening to some of the stuff, not quite for me. I was like, okay. Indeed, I had one person. It was funny because they wanted me to convince them to buy my relationship book. And I was like, no. You decide if you want to buy it. I'm not going to hard sell you. I don't know. I don't know what you're looking for. It may not be good for you. In fact, I've said that. As much as I love book sales, my book is not going to help every single person. And I have no problems with that. I have no problems. Anybody who supports these videos, anybody who reads my books, anybody who listens to me, I want you to do it because you have thought about it. You have listened, you have applied the information. And of course I say that constantly, and you know what? I'll probably be saying it again. But that's with anybody. Don't be a blind follower to anybody. I don't care what they're saying, what they're doing. Listen, question everybody. Like, one thing I'll say about me, no matter what, whether it's politically, economically, spiritually, I always question. I just don't blindly follow people. I want y'all to remember that, all right? I want you to be the same. So, think on this, all right? And I'll get back with you later. Peace and blessings.